at least put in the work, give it a shot, and see if you can make it work for yourself. So him on the Jaeun, on the Greatsword, definitely with his winner's mentality.
And going on to Apocalypse, for game number 1, Crockie opening up with an axe. Not finding the spear that I feel like he might want instead, and Pugsyxd with the recoveries and nairs just keeps Crockie flying high in the sky. Crockie tries to reverse the position, but he only gets 1 nair for his trouble, tosses the axe away, and he waits patiently for that new weapon spawn, but Pugsyxd doesn't seem that he wants to let him have it. Sidesig misses 1 pogo for his troubles, but Crockie's going to need a lot more punish than that to come back into this first stock as that nair hits and puts him near the top of the stage. That will do it. The entire stock was almost nairs and recoveries from Pugsyxd. Crockie just could not land.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing, right? Pugsyxd, he's played a lot of, like, Raza in the past, a lot of Axe in his gameplay, so a lot of Jala as well. So he kind of is playing this Greatsword aerial game almost like he would play Axe. It's a lot of hanging around at that single jump height, looking for either your down air or your neutral air to build up the damage, and then scoring knockout with the heavy hitter.
Crockie still struggling to get any damage in onto Pugsyxd. Recovery hits. He chase dodges diagonally away to reposition, and a side roll will put Pugsyxd on the left side of the stage. And this is one of those positions where the amount of damage you have doesn't matter. If Crockie can get those early stocks off the left side of the stage versus by babysitting with spear side airs, then it could even up pretty quickly. But Pugsyxd dodges through the double D-light. Crockie was hoping that he wasn't going to dodge there, but instead he does. And the side airs start to connect. Okay, Crockie going to even up the stocks. Will he go for the ground pound? Oh, no! Beautiful downer space.
Just the pogo and beat out the recovery. That was perfectly timed.
And I want to stress the word you just said there, which was perfectly. Crockie had such, to me, unusual timings with the spear down airs that he not only caught Pugsyxd off guard the first time, but he interrupted the unarmed recovery the second time, and now he's putting on the hurt going on to the second stock. Crockie finally figuring out how he wants to play against Pugsyxd's Jaeun and hitting with that spear recovery. Gets the weapon throw down. Pick up, gravity cancel, neutral sig. That's like a Crockie original. I've never seen that. And now the recovery almost hits. The unarmed nair is almost enough, but Crockie has done such a great job coming back at what was a huge deficit.
Yeah, I mean, he was so far behind to be able to turn that into bringing Pugsyxd into the orange, almost the red. All he really needs is 1 solid spear string, and that could be it. The axe might even be less.
Ooh, the neutral light whiffing there was a huge deal for Pugsyxd. Pugsyxd was able to dodge it. The side sig does linger for quite a while, but Pugsyxd doesn't find himself getting hit by that move, and the recovery stops the side air from Crockie as Crockie tosses the axe forward, gets a little bit of weapon throw damage, maybe 1 or 2, and twitches back to the spear, which is he has had the most success with so far. But man, Pugsyxd with that falling down air gets a lot of damage. Now recovery from Crockie hits through, but it's going to take a lot more. Never mind. Bryn side sig, that'll knock you out a lot of shades of damage.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? She just has such an amazing signature kit. They're nothing extra flashy. They do kind of what you expect them to do. It'll be that strike over towards the side for the side signature. But with that simplicity comes the strength.
Yeah. Pugsyxd, however, looking like he's going to take this game number 1, but I like the adaptations that we saw from Crockie halfway through the game. Let's see if he can pull out a miracle here. Dash jumping around, fast falling, just looking for repositioning, getting some damage. Falling cider from the platform. Pugsyxd makes great use of it and takes game number 1 convincingly. But will we have a Blazy scenario in our hands for this game number 2, where there's some adaptation that comes in? The games get a little closer. Maybe Crockie will take what I'm excited for. Pugsyxd, I definitely think is the favorite, but Crockie was looking really creative on the spear on that second stock.
Yeah, I mean, the weapon throw down into pick up the spear and then gravity cancel a neutral signature so incredibly quickly. I mean, it's like he was buffering it ahead of hand, knowing that it was just going to work.
I mean, yeah, this is raw experience and creativity there coming up from Crockie with that combo. So now we're going after the small Enigma. Very interesting stage pick coming into game number 2. I know that out of all of the players in North America, it is Pugsyxd sets that I see this stage picked the most. And I have a feeling that Pugsyxd likes something about it for 1v1s in general. What that is exactly, I don't know for certain, but it's opening up with a even game so far. Pugsyxd with a slight lead, switches over to the Greatsword, and Crockie has the weapon of choice this time from the beginning, not onto the axe, which I feel like he's gotten more weapon throws than he has anything else when it comes to damage off of that weapon.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. I think a lot of this match is going to depend on how much can Crockie adapt to Pugsyxd's oddly more aerial greatsword play than most other players. You know,
Yeah.
because we see a lot of ground control, those amazing chains that you can do with the greatsword, but Pugsyxd has been playing this mostly as an aerial weapon.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that because the last game was ended off of a greatsword side air. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I never see anybody knock out with that move. And the majority of Pugsyxd's neutral game has been with nairs and recoveries as well. Down airs hitting, and then Pugsyxd just getting onto the ground and going right back up for a dash jump neutral air or a full jump neutral air. Crockie taking a lot of damage from these openings, and now a whole stock behind once again as one of those greatsword recoveries to take him off the top. And that almost was the stock there. Oh, he went deep for that gravity cancel side stick.
Yeah, definitely wanted to just push this as far as he can. Runs out of runway. You know, you can't continue those chains if there's no ground below you.
Ooh, nice side air. Catches Pugsyxd off guard. Pugsyxd thought he had some safety fast fall into the platform, but the side air pokes him at the very edge and is enough force to knock him out, even to the stocks 2-2.
Ooh, dodges through that neutral signature. That could have spelled disaster for Crockie. Oh, yeah.
That
Beautiful
definitely
punish
does.
on the signature. That one, it can be incredibly devastating, that Bryn where she just spins the spear. But it does take quite a while to play through, so Pugsyxd had tons of time to line up his counter signature.
I can't help but feel for Crockie there. There was 2 or 3 attacks where he had just barely misspaced it so that Pugsyxd didn't get hit by the neutral light, the down sig, and ended up leading into his stock being gone. And now a greatsword ground pound coming through. Went for the side stick, doesn't hit it, but Pugsyxd still in complete control over this edge guard. Doesn't get the finisher because he falls off the platform, but he doesn't matter. The recovery is exactly what he wanted. And he takes Crockie right off the top of the stage. And unlike the matchup between Blazing and Sandstorm, that looked even more convincing for Pugsyxd going into game number 2.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, we've got all these platforms that he added into the mix, going over to Small Enigma with that tri-platform formation, and I guess that works out pretty well for Pugsyxd because he's mostly playing in the air anyway. So it's putting you in situations where you want to go to those platforms. You want to land there because you think it's a little bit safer than the flat ground against Greatsword, but that's just where Pugsyxd's hanging out and attacking anyway.
Ooh, and now we're going on to a stage that a lot of players have been touting as favored for Greatsword just because of how thin it is and how short the walls are. Greatsword with that side light, if you're able to time it right, side light, dash back, side light over and over again, you can catch a lot of people just trying to poke their heads up over the side of the stage, and there's no platforms for you to find safety on. Of course, against Pugsyxd, we were talking about how aerial heavy his Greatsword game is. Maybe this actually works out a little bit better in Crockie's favor than the previous 2 maps, as Small Enigma was the first map that Crockie banned out.
Yeah, I think it'll come down to how much can Oh,
Ooh.
jeez.
That's not even Greatsword. That's just pocket sand. Instead of Crockie flying without any damage to Pugsyxd, basically.
Yeah, now Pugsyxd's got that full stock lead. He kept Crockie, you know, weapon starved for a little bit. That does put Pugsyxd on the regular sword. But I think a lot of this is going to boil down to, since Pugsyxd is mostly hanging out in the air, how much...
Ooh.
Oh,
he had to drift back away from that side air. I didn't even know if he was going to make it back to the stage. Crockie still fighting back. Down air into neutral air. Good conversion. Crockie goes for the side light to catch the landing, and Pugsyxd reading it, uses the recovery just to go up higher in the air. Lands again, but that, man, he's getting a lot of those down air airs.
Oh,
another pogo edge guard?
Pogo?
Oh, definitely. Oh, but Pugsyxd was ready that time.
And again, missing that down signature, and Pugsyxd just lining up the punish. I'm still just, okay, yeah, dash jump, reverse ground pound. Crockie really hammering that one home to take the first stock off of Pugsyxd, tying it up 2-2, but he still has quite the hill to climb as far as the damage deficit.
You know, at the end of the day, I have to recognize that the walls of Demon Island benefit nobody. They just benefit no one. That ground pound covered the entire wall. Pugsyxd, however, was unfazed by losing that stock, deletes Crockie's second stock really quickly, and Crockie's got 1 stock left to play with potentially for his winner's bracket run as Pugsyxd's looking to make quick work of him here in game number 3.
A lot of this is going to boil down to how well Crockie can time in on Pugsyxd's aerial play, because he has 2 weapons that have some of the best anti-airs in the game, the Axe Downlight and the Spear Downlight. That one actually having a true combo follow-up. But it seems like Pugsyxd's kind of been fading and always drifting to the back of where Crockie is looking for those connections to happen. So Crockie hasn't been able to line up those anti-airs, and he really needs to quick.
Yeah, something else is interesting. Oh, is that going to be a stock? Oh, Pugsyxd chase dodge forward, but he doesn't get the neutral sig. Bouncing hits! He gets the cider as well. Is it pogo time? No, he went for a really well-timed weapon throw, picks up the axe, gets the cider, ground pound. No, Pugsyxd doing great with his jump so far, Ground pound hits him up a little bit higher than he likes, but the
Yo!
snare interrupts the recovery, and Crockie has got a game on his hands. A great edge guard from Crockie.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if he can just do that again, that'll put him on the board.
Ooh, is it side air edge guard time? Recovery
Oh my
isn't
gosh.
going to do it, but that will.
Man, so many juggle opportunities. Pugsyxd taking hold of every single one to build the damage, and that's a 3-0 victory.
Yes, a convincing 3-0 indeed. Pugsyxd looking very strong in the J, and with a very different play style than what I'm used to watching, at least when it comes to competitive Brawlhalla, really taking to the skies there, and I'm very curious how that will play out if he finds himself in a position where he has to fight the Great Sword Ditto as the World Championship progresses. But that is it, 3-0 for Pugsyxd as he moves on into the winner's bracket. The next matchup that we got coming up is one of my favorites when it comes to the history of Brawlhalla tournaments. It's going to be Pugsyxd versus